You know, it's funny, when I talk about not using stickers in your planner, I have people who tell me that they can't do that because they don't know how to draw, they don't know how to do art, they don't know how to do fancy lettering. Their planner's gonna look like basic, and they can't do a no sticker, no stamp, whatever week. So today I'm going to dispel that idea of not being able to go completely pen only in your planner when you can't draw and you can't letter. I'm going to give you a toolkit of things that you can do regardless of your skills or lack thereof. And then this coming up Sunday on the 6th of September 2020, I will be doing a live plan with me in my real planner, only using the kinds of stuff I'm showing you today. So please join me then, and if this is way in the future, go back and check that plan with me out for an example. All I'm using is just a regular notebook. It's my I can't ever fucking say it. And just a Papermate flare. I love using Papermate flares for pen only things, but as my first tip for you, I'm actually going to show you a couple of other pens. So Papermate flare has kind of a medium tip. I mean, that's the standard medium Papermate flare. There's an extra fine tip as well, but I've just got the medium. One of the tips I have for doing a pen only week is to grab a couple of different pens. Now, we'll be talking more about color and highlighters later in September. Today, however, I just want to emphasize how having a few different thicknesses of pen can automatically make your shit look better or make it look more interesting. Better is absolutely subjective. I have a couple of different fine liners here. You can find different thicknesses of fine liners at your craft stores or on Amazon, Pigma Microns, etc., etc. I just grabbed a couple of random ones from my pen cup because I was looking for certain sizes. So this is a extra small Pitt Artist pen from Faber-Castell. So you can see here the difference in size. Just your regular writing looks different based on the two different pens. This is a Staedtler Pigment Liner 1.0, so this is a super bold pen. So as you can see, having different thicknesses of pens will give you a variety, even if all you do is write in your planner. You don't doodle, you don't do anything else in it. If you use different thicknesses of pens based on how much you want to emphasize something, that will automatically give you a little bit of variety and a little bit of difference in your planner. It'll look a little bit more interesting. I'm going to show you 3 basic things anybody can do that don't involve any hand lettering whatsoever. You have your regular printing, and the trick is just write slower. My regular printing looks like this. It's not even really printing. It's still not perfect, but it is neater. Just write a little bit slower and your regular handwriting will look a little more legible. Secondly, assuming, of course, now I know there are some people who've never learned this, but assuming you've learned cursive, again, this is my slow cursive, and that's my regular cursive. So these two would be the two I would use in a pen only spread. The final thing you can do, if you don't have a thick pen, or even if you do have a thick pen, is to bold your letters. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you write your letters maybe in all caps. Using all caps is also really great. But then I just go back over them. Maybe once, maybe twice. And suddenly you have an entirely different font. So just this one, and this one, and maybe add some all caps in your regular printing, and you can have a nice variety of things you can do with your planner, with your lettering, that doesn't require any skill whatsoever. The final thing with lettering that I'm going to show you, so we have the pens, we have the different things. The final thing I'm going to show you is size. Easily just changing size. If you're writing on your planner like this for something small, like dinner, in cursive, right? But then let's say you're going out to dinner. Still cursive, but it's bigger. So size does matter. Also, the other thing I did here was mix up the different fonts I'm using, cursive and printing. Mixing up the fonts is always going to look interesting if you have something where you're using like 3 words or more, or even 2 words. Now that we've kind of taken care of some of the writing, I want to give you a couple of basic doodles that you can do that you already know how to draw, but just to remind you that you can draw them because they will come in handy. There's basically 2 sort of categories. The first is the arrow. I use arrows a lot to note time, to emphasize everything else. And my 3 favorite arrows I like to use in my planner when I'm just being simple is just a standard straight arrow, the same arrow, but you just make it wavy, and then curvy arrows. Those are the 3. They're super easy. Anybody can draw them. You can even mix them up. Curvy, wavy arrow. Now, if you want to go deeper into it and like color in your little arrow tip, go for it. Or if you want to add extra lines, go for it. But these 3 simple arrows, the straight arrow, the curvy arrow, wavy, curvy, I guess this is the curvy. These 3 arrows, whatever you want to call them. If you want something that lasts like a long time, going down one day or going sideways, just a little bit of interest. It's not just the writing. That's a doodle. That counts as a doodle. Next, we have lines, which kind of go with the arrows in general. You can use them as borders to separate things. You can use them to emphasize things. You have your single line. You have your multiple lines, your wavy lines. You can do curly lines. You can do pointy lines. Or you can turn arrows into a line. These are just simple lines. They're just scribbles, basically. But any of these you can do. They don't have to be perfect looking. And you can, again, adapt some of these. What if you want to do this kind of arrow? Or what if you want to do this kind of arrow? See? They're all interchangeable. And anybody can draw these. It does not take any skill to draw these. I'm sure when you were in school, you probably, if you weren't like me, you probably spent some time just kind of doing this situation on your notebook when you were bored, or writing Mrs. whatever. We all know. I'm not going to tell you who my high school crush was. The other thing you can do with lines to use up a lot of time, and this will come more into play during highlighter week, is to use hash marks. To, again, fill up a bunch of time. You can use just single hash marks that way, or you can cross hatch. And that helps cover up a whole bunch of area without needing to do anything fancy. And then the final kind of doodle that's real helpful in planners are boxes. Now, we already use boxes as stickers, you know, but if you want to use a certain amount of time, especially if you have an hourly, you can just draw a single box, or you can do like what you did with the bold and kind of go around it to make it look scribbly. Remember, this is pen only, so it's okay if it looks scribbly. You can take some of these lines and create boxes like that. Different sizes for different amounts of time, or for, you know, again, different emphases, whatever the case may be. And then you can add some lettering. And look at that. You just doodled a to-do list, and it didn't take any fancy skill. It just took some things you probably already know how to do. The whole point to me showing you these things is not because I want to be like, of course, Cindy, anybody can do this. But yeah, actually, that's it. Here's the thing, you guys. None of this stuff is new to anybody. Now, that's not entirely true, because I know some of you weren't taught cursive as kids, but cursive notwithstanding, these squiggly things, they are something anyone can do with any amount of skill. If you have tremors in your hands, you can still do these things. If you are left-handed, you can do these things. If all you have is a ballpoint pen, that's a ballpoint pen. You can still do these things. And I'm going to show you on Sunday how to make a cool looking planner spread with these things. The point is, there's so many people who have been doing this creative planning, creative bullet journaling thing for so long now that the amount of excessive fanciness is just that. It's excessive. And I'm not hating. I, myself, love an excessive planner spread. I love stickers and everything else. However, there is something to be said for simplicity. If your big thing holding you back from trying something with just your pen has been that you don't know how to do shit, well, I just showed you that you can do shit without any major practice or any major skill. So I invite you to join me on Sunday to see that, but also just to give this a try in your planner and let me know about it in the comments below or whatever. And if you are somebody who loves fancy lettering and shit, then I I am encouraging you to go super back to basics and pull back from the fancy lettering and try something like this, because it's going to make you really think about the things you're putting in your planner versus the way you're putting them in your planner. And that can be something that can be really helpful for resetting, especially right now during everything that's going on, the dumpster fire that is this year. Anyway, I'd love to hear your ideas in the comments below. What are your thoughts about this? Are you going to give it a try? You're going to join me on Sunday? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, peace out, bros.